You have likely had someone close to you, someone who praised you, walked right beside you, and gave you a distinct sense of safety. Then, a complication arises. Something goes wrong in your life, and before you even register the shift in their demeanor, they are gone. The sense of permanence shatters in an instant. It leaves you wondering how a connection that felt so solid could vanish without a trace. Consider a young monk named Ryan. He lived in a remote stone monastery at the edge of a mountain. He was quiet, waking early to sweep the temple floor and carrying water from the stream every evening. He worked without asking for acknowledgement, but acknowledgement found him anyway. Another monk, Haran, began walking beside him to morning prayers and sitting next to him at meals. Whenever the senior monks spoke well of Ryan, Haran was the first to chime in with extra praise. Over 3 years, they spent every day together. Ryan opened up. He shared his quiet doubts, the fears he kept hidden from the rest of the monastery, and the small ambitions he had never spoken aloud. Ryan made a critical miscalculation. He equated this constant proximity and daily validation with an unbreakable loyalty. During a weekly teaching session, Ryan gave a deeply incorrect answer in front of the head monk and his peers. The room fell completely silent as the head monk delivered a firm, clear correction. Feeling the heat rise in his face, Ryan looked to his side for support. Haran was staring fixedly at the floor, refusing to make eye contact. As soon as the session ended, Ryan turned to speak with him, but Haran was already walking out the door, laughing and chatting closely with another monk, as if the afternoon had been entirely ordinary. A 3-year friendship collapsed in the span of a single afternoon. A single public mistake revealed that their bond held absolutely no structural weight. Disoriented, Ryan walked to the far end of the monastery that evening. He sat down with the old master, asking how someone could stand so close for so long, only to disappear the moment trouble arrived. The master offered no immediate comfort. Instead, he told Ryan to meet him outside the next morning, before breakfast. As the sun came up, they walked across an open field. The morning light was sharp. A distinct shadow was stretching out across the dry grass, tracking right beside Ryan's fate. The master told him to keep his eyes on it. They reached a massive tree at the edge of the field. The moment they stepped under its wide canopy, the shadow vanished. Ryan looked down and checked both sides. The ground was entirely empty. Ryan stepped backward into the sunlight. The shadow immediately returned, long and steady. He stepped under the branches again, and it disappeared. He tested this over and over. The demonstration proved a strict rule. The shadow had no independent existence. It only appeared when the external environment allowed it. Sitting on a thick root, the master explained that the shadow wasn't being cruel. It wasn't making a conscious choice to abandon him when it left. A shadow requires a very specific set of conditions to exist. It needs strong directional light, an open space, and nothing blocking the path. A central pillar sits under a distinct beam of light, casting a defined shape. Now watch what happens when the light fades. The shape instantly retracts and vanishes. This exact physics applies to fair-weather friends. They cannot remain when the glow of success disappears. Assuming a fair-weather friend leaves out of calculated malice is a mistake. The reality is simpler. They lack the internal substance required to stand beside you in the dark. A true friend operates under a completely different set of rules. They require absolutely zero favorable external conditions to maintain their presence. They stay when the applause stops. They stay through your embarrassing mistakes. They remain firmly beside you, even when it costs them something. This kind of connection is anchored by an internal core. It is immune to the fluctuating degrees of light and shade in your life. Sitting under the tree, Ryan realized his error. For 3 years, he had been reading the behavior of a shadow and calling it a friend. He returned to the monastery with a new framework. He stopped tracking how often people praised him. Instead, he quietly observed who remained engaged when the work was difficult and the mood was tense. Think about your own history. Have you ever watched a shadow disappear when the hard times arrived? Tell us your story in the comments. And if you know someone navigating this exact situation, Share this video with them. Over time, the genuine connections in Rayon's life became incredibly clear. They were statistically rare, but because of their absolute permanence, those few were the only ones he would ever need.